Good morning, students. Welcome you to the virtual class of accountancy subject. Up till now, you have finished with chapter number 1, 2 and 3, where you have learned the meaning of accountancy, characteristics of accountancy, the limitations of accountancy, qualitative characteristics of accountancy and accounting terminology. We have also seen methods of preparing accounts, steps of preparing accounts. Chapter number 2 we have done dual effects of accounting transaction we have learned. Also we have learned about the GST in our chapter number 3. Now from today we are going to start our chapter number 4, which is journal. Actually, when we determine that which account will be debited and which account will be credited, it is to be recorded in a book. Right, so from dual effects of account we determine whether the account will be debited or which account will be credited, which account will be debited, and then we record accordingly in a book. That book is known as journal. Journal, it is a fundamental basic book. First time transaction is recorded in journal. On the basis of what? From rough book and voucher. No doubt, as and when transaction take place, normally it is recorded in rough book. But rough book is not a books of account. It is just a rough book. And from rough book, transactions are recorded in journal. So journal is a what? A first or basic fundamental book where transactions are recorded. But before recording transaction in journal, we need to determine the affected account, the type of account, and the account, whether it will be debited or whether particular account will be credited. So that we already learned in chapter number 2, how to recognize account, how to recognize dual effect, how to recognize whether account will be debited, which account will be debited, which account will be credited. We very well know now that minimum 2 accounts are affected by each and every economic transaction. Right? Say for example, owners start business with cash of rupees 50,000. Here cash is affected, so cash account is affected, and owner is the giver. So owner's account, that is known as capital account, is affected. So we will decide whether which 2 accounts are affected. Then on the basis of types of account, we will determine the types of account, and then we will decide, applying the rules of debit credit, whether the account will be debited or credited. And then on the basis of that debit and credit, we will be recording that account in a book. That book is known as journal. Here the meaning is journal. What is a journal? A recording process of accounting transaction based on rules of debit and credit in first books of account. In first book of accounts. A recording process, that means what we do, we are from rough book we are transferring transaction in the journal. That is a process. So it is a process of accounting transaction based on what? Rules of debit and credit. We have seen 3 types of account: real, nominal, personal. We have seen the rules. Real account, debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Personal account, debit the receiver, credit the giver. Nominal account, debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gain. So applying those 3 rules, we will be recording the transaction in first books of account, which is known as journal. Okay. Now, what is journal? Some other information about journal which we have already discussed. Journal is known as fundamental book or first book or book of original entry. For the first time transaction is recorded in journal. So it is also known as first book of account. It is also known as basic or fundamental book. Why basic and fundamental book? On the basis of journal, other books of accounts are maintained. So it is a fundamental books. Also known as book of original entry. Originally, for the first time, books entries are recorded in journal. Now, how these entries recorded? So record is maintained on the basis of rough book and vouchers. In journal book, how do we record the transaction? So on the basis of rough book and vouchers. We have seen different types of vouchers are there. Chapter number 2, we have studied about the vouchers. So on the basis of vouchers, suppose purchase voucher, sales voucher, pay slip in the bank, receipt, any counterfoil of check, on the basis of such vouchers and draft book, we are preparing accounts. So records are maintained on the basis of draft book and vouchers. What else? In the chapter number 1, in the steps of accounts, we have learned that from journal a new book is opened, that is ledger, and all accounts are opened in that. So in the book of ledger, that is in ledger book, all the accounts are opened and posting is done from journal. From journal, different accounts are opened and posting is done. So from where? From journal. Transaction will be recorded in journal, and from journal it will be recorded in ledger. What else? On the basis of ledger, we will find the balances of different accounts, and on the basis of different balances of account, trial balance will be prepared, and trial balance will be helpful for us to prepare final account, annual account, and final annual account will give us the true and fair profit and financial position. See, any business is done with the intention of earning profit. So to earn profit, whether we have earned profit or whether we have made a loss or whatever, how much profit we have earned, to know that we need to prepare accounts at the end of the year. Those accounts are known as annual accounts. Those annual accounts are prepared on the basis of trial balance. Trial balance is prepared on the basis of accounts which are opened in ledger book, and accounts in ledger book are opened on the basis of journal, and journal transactions are recorded on the basis of draft book and vouchers. So this is all about journal. What else? Journal word is derived from French word jour. French word jour, which means day. Which means day. And originally this word is of Latin language, which means a note or a diary. Journal means it is a word of Latin language and its meaning is a note or a diary. So these two things you have to remember. That word is derived from French word which means jour, French word jour which means day, and actually the whole word journal is of Latin language which means a note or a diary. Okay. Now let us move to the another topic, characteristics of journal. This was all about meaning of journal. Characteristics of journal. Here are 2 points of characteristics based on our explanation. First is original book. So now we know that this is the original book of account. How it is the original book of account? Because the transaction for the first time are recorded in this book. No doubt, again I tell you, transactions may be recorded in draft book, but draft book is not considered as books of account. So original book is journal, right? Why original book? Transaction are first time recorded in journal. What else? Dual effect. From journal we can know the dual effect of any transaction, because the transaction before recording in journal, the transactions dual effect is already given. It is already determined whether which accounts will be affected and which account will be debited or which account will be credited. So there will be dual effects in journal. What else? 2 columns for amount. There will be 2 columns for amount. As we know, one account is debited and one account is credited minimum in particular transaction. So there will be 2 different columns. One column will be there for writing the debit amount and one column will be there for writing the credit amount. What else? Order of date. Here transactions are recorded in the order of date, as and when they take place, and they are recorded in the order of date, right? Suppose a transaction is taking place on first date, will be recorded first, and then transaction is taking place on second date, will be recorded second, right? So it is in order, chronological order of date transactions are recorded. What else? From journal we get to know about narration. Narration is what? A brief explanation. After recording transaction in journal, a brief explanation is written about the transaction, from which we come to know about transaction. Transaction is already recorded. Account is debited, account is credited. Right? Now If you want to confirm whether the transaction is correctly recorded or not, a brief explanation of transaction is given, and that is what known as journal. Sorry, that is known as narration. So these are some characteristics of journal. Thank you.
मुझे वो ध्यान था।
हाँ